1917, a violin player from Philadelphia started a full-time music career journey. He passed it on to his children, who passed it on to the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren. For 100 years, his family has been making a living making music. They know things they want to share with you. They are meeting new musicians every day that also know things they want to share with you. All you have to do is ask. Welcome to Ask a Full-Time Working Musician, the only music career podcast 100 years in the making, with your host, Billy and Will Gryzak.
Hi, I'm Billy Gryzak.
Hi, I'm Will Gryzak.
And you're listening to Ask a Full-Time Working Musician, our brand new podcast.
Yeah, what he said.
A lot of people want to know exactly what is a full-time working musician, and there could be all different answers for that. You know, some people say it's like how many days a week do you work, or it could be how much money you make a year, or whether or not you have another job besides music. So for my purposes, what I tell people, at least for this show especially, is a full-time working musician is anybody that's making their living off of music 100%, okay? I mean, they could have another source of income if they wanted to, but they don't need to. That's the important part, okay? So it's you can make a living off of music 100%, and there's lots of different ways to do that. Now, in our family...
That's us.
That's us, right. Our family's been performing live music, cover music, original music, doing all kinds of shows in bars, nightclubs, libraries, kids shows for 100 years. So way back, Will's great-grandfather, William Sr., started playing in 1917, and he would go to like synagogues and play Jewish events like bar mitzvahs and reels and all this stuff, and he made a living doing that starting out. And the most interesting thing was he wasn't Jewish.
Yeah, German.
German, yeah.
Very, very German.
Very German, yeah. And so he put on his yarmulke, and he'd go down there, and he'd play at the synagogues and make money. Then he eventually saved up money to buy an upright bass. I don't even know if you know that part of the story. And then started a dance band, but like I was like a 14-piece dance band, gypsy band. They dressed up as gypsies.
Gypsy band.
Yeah, I'm serious. They dressed up as gypsies, and they did gypsy dancing, and that's what they did. And then after that, my dad, Bill, that's right, he was Bill. Bill...
Big Bad Billy Sweet.
Junior, he played music for a living, and he toured all over the United States and Canada and stuff. And my uncle did that, and my mother, and then eventually I did, and this guy.
I hit a box.
Hit it! There you go. That's his box, man.
I scared the crap out of Slash. Oh my God.
So,
sorry, bud.
So what we've been doing for a living is live shows.
Played all over the place. Florida, Alaska, New Jersey. Yeah, we played New Jersey.
Yeah, we played New Jersey. Yeah, sure did.
I think we did.
Yeah, or we were there anyway. I've played New Jersey. I played New Jersey a lot. So anyway, when it comes to like people asking us questions for the show that have to do with playing live and getting gigs and booking gigs and staying employed, we know a lot about that. Now, there's a lot of people that want to know things about licensing and getting, shows and, songs and movies and things like that. Well, we don't know a lot about that because we haven't really done that, but we know people that know those kinds of things. So
I know him.
Anyway, so let's try and actually ask one of the real questions. We actually had a real question, and
a real question.
Yeah, so I figure we could start with that. And
now, what makes a real question, Dad?
It was sent in by Facebook or email, and I typed it out for you to read.
I shall be the one reading.
So why don't we go with this first one here? It's from Ella Stone, and go ahead, Will.
My goal with my songs this 2017 is to earn $2,000. What would you say is necessary to do?
And that's a really great question. What our listener is asking is, I want to raise $2,000 for my music. Now, I don't really know what you're going to do with this, if you're trying to make a CD or if you're trying to do downloads or whatever. That would change. But What we'll do is I'm going to tell you a story about the first time that I raised $2,000, okay, for music. And so a lot of people today talk about crowdfunding. And crowdfunding are things like Kickstarter. The first time that I crowdfunded a project was way back in 1993.
Okay.
So that was like 3 years before you were even born, right?
Yeah.
And it was way before the internet was a thing for musicians, and it was way before crowdfunding. So here's how it worked. Here's how I raised $2,000 and recorded my first CD. You're going to love this story. At least I hope you will. Okay, guys ready? Here's the story. Okay. 1, I was playing a show in Bellevue, Nebraska, with my band Billy, Zach, and the Attack.
What were you doing in Nebraska?
I was playing a show with my band Billy, Zach, and the Attack.
Oh.
And we had a couple of original songs, not many. We were mostly doing covers. And during the show, a lady came up to me and she said, I want to buy your CD. And I said, well, we don't have a CD. Okay. And she goes, well, no problem. Here's $20. True story. Here's $20 and my address. And when you make your CD, I want you to send me a copy.
It's putting a lot of faith into musicians.
True story. So, being the kind of guy that I am, which you'll find out as you listen to episodes of Ask a Full-Time Working Musician.
Ask a full-time working musician.
That's right. The first thing that I did was I looked at that and I went up on stage and I made an announcement. True story. Okay. And I said, hey, everybody, we're back. We're ready to get the show going. And by the way, we're recording a CD. I said, we just got started, and it's going to be coming out sometime later this year, and we're taking orders for it tonight. We got our first order a few minutes ago, and all you got to do if you want to get one of these CDs is you got to give me $20 and your mailing address, and we'll send you a CD signed and numbered with a poster. I just made it up on the spot because I figured, most CDs back then were selling for like, $7, $8, $9, $10, but I wanted $20. So because the girl gave me 20, so I figured that would cover mailing and stuff. So I started collecting, and in literally, 2 months, something like that, 2 months, we had $2,000. Boom. Of course, back then, we were actually playing 6 nights a week. So we were in front of a lot of people, and people just were handing us money blindly. It was crazy. Now, here's the deal. I had $2,000. Problem. It cost about $1,200 or so to press CDs back then. And I had to record it.
Right.
And I didn't have a recording studio. At the time, all I had was a Mac Classic. It was like one of those little gray computers with a 9-inch black and white screen. And I could make music sequences, like video game music kind of stuff with it.
Sure.
But you couldn't record vocals and stuff back in those days into computers. That hadn't been invented yet, right? So check this out. So I went to, and a shout out to one of my favorite people, I went to Dick's Music Store in Green Bay, Wisconsin. All right, Dick Schulze, one of my favorite people. In fact, I want him on the show because that guy was booking himself since the 1950s and is still playing out in public, booking his own gigs. So we got to get him on the show, right? Anyway, so Dick had a music store, and he had this great thing called a rent-to-own program. Now, I don't think he'll do this for you now, mostly because of me. But here's what I did. I went to Dick's Music Store, and Dick had an 8-track reel-to-reel recording machine and the matching mixer. He wanted to sell it for like $4,000 or something. And he had a policy, if you put 10% down, then you could pay him every month for whatever it was you were going to buy. But if you couldn't afford it, you just brought it back and you lost the money you put in.
Okay.
So I went in there and I gave him $400 and I took the reel-to-reel machine and the mixer, took it home, and I figured out how to plug my computer into it.
Of course he did.
And then I sequenced all the drum parts and all the keyboard parts, and then I plugged it into the tape recorder, and then I recorded bass and vocals, and I did it all in a mobile home bedroom. little teeny weeny tiny, like 8x8 bedroom. I had all this equipment just crammed in there. And I recorded the whole CD myself like in a month. And then I took the recording machine back to Dick's music store. And I said, Dick, I love you, man, but I can't afford this. Here, take it back. So it only cost me $400 to have a recording studio in my house for 1 month. And if you think recording studios at that time were charging like between, $25 and $100 an hour. Mm-hmm. All right? So that's number one. Oh, but before I took it back to Dick's, this is a biggie. After you made a tape, you had to put it down to another kind of a tape called a DAT, and you'd send that to the place to press off your records, right? Or, your CDs. Sure. Well, DAT machines are very expensive, but in Minnesota, we had this thing called Music Go Round, and I bought a used DAT machine for like $200, and then I bounced it all down to the DAT machine, and now I still had like, $1,400 left over. And that $1,400 gave me enough money to press 1,000 CDs and have enough money left over for postage to send all the CDs to the 100 people that pre-ordered the CD. And that's how I raised $2,000. Oh, and by the way, this is something funny. A lot of people say you need 1,000 fans to make any money or to do a project. I did it with 100. Because think about it. I only had to get 100 people to give me $20 each to get $2,000. Mm-hmm. And I told those people I put their name in the CD. So if you see those original CDs, there's 100 people in the liner notes and special thanks to. And everybody got a CD numbered. Only took 100 people to do it. So guess what? I had 900 CDs left over that I could sell for $10, $15 a piece. And that's how we did our first CD. Later, I'll tell you what happened with the second CD, and the third CD, which I also didn't spend one dime of my own money on.
Right, of course. You always manage to find ways of not having to pay anything for anything.
So anyway, we hope, Ella, that we answer your question. And this is our pilot episode where we're just checking it out to see how it works. So
now, before we stop, I do have one method that's a lot easier to raise $2,000.
Okay.
Step 1, acquire $2,000. Step 2, raise 2,000 said dollars above your head. Step 3, you have successfully raised $2,000.
So if you like the idea of having two hosts, let us know. If you prefer just having one host, let us know. Okay. Anyway, that's it for our show today. You've been listening to Ask a Full-Time Working Musician. Oh, and if you're bored and you'd like to check out some cool music, whether it's live or soon to be recorded, you can check out our alter egos, Big and Tall, at bigandtallmusic.com. Well, we'll see you soon with our first actually planned show. This one's just kind of for fun to see what it sounds like. We'll post it up soon. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Ask a Full-Time Working Musician podcast, brought to you by your friends at Host Baby, web hosting for musicians. Try it free now at www.hostbaby.com.